Hey book besties, welcome to my June TBR video. It is so wild to me that we are almost at June. Like, what the heck? We are almost halfway through 2023, which is so wild to me. But we are here to use my TBR jar full of reading prompts to pick out 5 books that I will hopefully read in the month of June. So with that all being said, let's just jump right into the video. Gonna mix up the prompts a little bit. Okay. Our first reading prompt, a book with a blue cover. Okay, you can't really see, but this bottom shelf over here is full of all my blue books. So I'm gonna pick out something from this shelf. So I'm not sure. Oh, I think I'm gonna go with Hook, Line and Sinker by Tessa Bailey because I read It Happened One Summer in May. Really enjoyed that one. Stay tuned for my May reading wrap up to find out my thoughts on that. But I really want to pick this one up because this is Hannah and Fox's story and it's friends to lovers, and it's still set in the same small fishing town, which was one of my favorite settings in a romance book. So I'm really excited to go back into this world again. I also really enjoyed Hannah and Fox in It Happened One Summer, so I'm excited to be reading a whole book dedicated to their relationship because we got like a little crumbs of them in the first book. So this will be interesting, and also their trope is obviously friends to lovers. So I'm really excited to pick this one up in June. A second reading prompt, a book with a tree on the cover. That's gonna be a bit hard. I don't think I even have any books that has a tree on the cover. I have no idea what I'm gonna be reading. It took me a while to find a book that matches this prompt, but I decided to go with Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I feel like I'm one of the last people to read this book because I know this one is super hyped up, but this is the new or newer cover, and at the bottom it does have little drawings of trees right here, so obviously it matches the prompt perfectly. So I'm gonna be reading this one in June, hopefully. I am really excited because so many of my favorite booktubers rave about this book. It's Sarah Crowley's favorite book of all time. She's reread it so many times, so I'm trusting her on this, so hopefully I love it just as much as she does. But this is a childhood friends to lovers, and it's also a second chance romance, and it is following a then and now perspective. I'm not a huge fan on second chance romance, but I love childhood friends to lovers, and I feel like a lot of people say that this is like a cozy hug in a book form, so hopefully it lives up to that. But we will see. I kind of also want to do some kind of reading vlog on this book. So our third prompt is a book by an author you've never read before. I feel like I got this prompt last month as well, but we definitely have quite a lot of options for this prompt because we have got Mariam Zapata, Jennifer Hartman, Lucy Parker, Rachel Lynn Solomon. Oh, actually, I am gonna go with Jennifer Hartman. I'm gonna go with June 1st because obviously we're entering the month of June and I kind of wanted to read this book in June. So I think this prompt works out perfectly because I have never read a Jennifer Hartman book before. I also don't really know too much about this book, but I think it's like a very emotional read. So I'm just gonna read the back of the book. One thing that's intimidating me is that the font size, I don't know if you can see, but it's literally tiny. It's tiny font. And the book is like 450 pages, so it's a long book. But I really want to read this in June because it literally has June 1st in the title. Like, I need to prioritize this. This needs to be read in June. If I don't read it in June 2023, I'm not going to be reading it till June 2024. So I've got to read it in June. Want to know what happens to a man who barely claws his way out of a tragedy only to fall right into the arms of the one girl in the world he can never have. Another tragedy, that's what. When I was 6 years old, my father made a choice that altered the course of my entire life. Because of what he did, the only girl I ever loved became the only girl I couldn't have. In a lot of ways, I did have her. I had her first steps, her first words, her first smile. I had her milestones, her heartbreaks, her dreams. I had her heart so woven in with mine. I didn't know where she ended and I began. Only as the years pressed on, lines became blurred, and the blurrier the line, the easier it is to cross. They say tragedy comes in threes. For me, that was true. The first one changed me, the second one broke me, and the third one healed me. But at the center of all that tragedy, there is a love story, and at the center of that love story, there is June. So that is what June 1st is about. Fingers crossed I enjoy this book. Fingers crossed I even get to reading this book in June if I stick to my TBR for once, but we'll see. next prompt is a book written by 2 authors. Okay, the easiest option that I would probably come into mind is Christina Lauren, because they are a duo. If not, do I have any other books besides Christina Lauren? But I already have a Christina Lauren book picked out on my TBR, so I don't really want to go with her. I mean, I've got A Merry Little Meet Cute by Julie Murphy and Sarah Simone, but that's a Christmas book, so I kind of feel weird reading a Christmas book in June, even though it'll be winter in Australia. But still, I don't really want to be reading that one. I'm gonna have to choose another Christina Lauren book because I don't have any other books written by 2 authors, so I'm gonna have to go with Something Wilder by Christina Lauren, which was anyway on my May TBR, but I didn't get around to reading it because I was like, I'm going traveling in July, so maybe I'll just read this while I'm traveling. Clearly, this being added onto my June TBR is a sign that I should read this one before I go traveling, so maybe I will. But this one is a second chance romance, and it sounds really fun because they're kind of going on a treasure hunt, and this one is set in the canyons of Utah. They're like going on this adventure together for treasure, and then like they fall back in love again, which I think is such a fun concept. Like, it's surrounding travel, which I absolutely love, plus I'm a hopeless romantic, but this is another second chance romance trope, so we shall see. Will be interesting for sure. I have a feeling I will enjoy this one though, because it's got summer vibes, it's set around traveling and like treasure hunting, which is so interesting and cool. I've never read that in a romance book before. And then of course there's love incorporated in the book, so I think plotline wise it's gonna be really fun, so hopefully I enjoy this one. And then we have our 5th and final reading prompt that's going to finalize this June TBR. A book by your favorite author. Who's my current favorite author is the question. I don't know. I have a few that I love. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid, K.A. Tucker, Anna Huang, Maisie Myers. Kind of tossing up between either Lynn Painter or Sarah Adams, because I read 2 of Lynn Painter's books in February and I loved both of them. And I do have Mr. Wrong Number by her that I will really want to read. But I think I'm actually going to go with Sarah Adams, because Sarah Adams just writes such feel-good, fun, cutesy, fluffy romances, and I feel like that's what I'm currently in the mood for. I think I'm going to go with When in Rome. It's a small town romance. It's got the one of us is famous trope. So we follow this girl named Amelia Rose. She's like a pop star, and she is very inspired by Audrey Hepburn, and she wants to go to Rome, but she can't go to Rome, Italy, so she goes to Rome, Kentucky, which is like this little small town in America, I think. But then her car breaks down and she meets this guy named Noah, who is the owner of this pie shop, and he kind of lets her stay in her guest room, and obviously, you know, that ends up turning into a romance, so it's like forced proximity as well. I don't know, the cover gives me cozy vibes and I'm here for it. Honestly, all of Sarah Adams' books give me cozy vibes. They're just so wholesome and I love them. I love reading them. Every time I read one of her books, they just put me in such a good mood and they give me all the best feels ever. So I think we're gonna go with When in Rome, and we're gonna go with Sarah Adams as my favorite author at the moment. Anyways, that means that we have chosen the 5 books that I will hopefully read in the month of June. So I'm going to do a quick recap and go through the books and the prompts. So for a book written by my favorite author, which is currently Sarah Adams, I went with When in Rome. For a book written by 2 authors, I went with Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. For a book written by an author I've never read before, I went with June 1st by Jennifer Hartman. For a book with a tree on the cover, we've got Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. And last but not least, for a book with a blue cover, I've got Hook, Line and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. So that officially concludes my June TBR. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this video. Let me know what books you're hoping to read in the month of June, and give this video a huge thumbs up if you did enjoy watching, and subscribe to my channel down below. I post new videos every single week. My May reading wrap up will be up at the end of this month, so stay tuned for that, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.